Hello and happy Sunday, everybody. Happy April 7th. Yesterday, we talked about why your teeth keep getting worse. And we talked about part one. And today, we're going to be covering part two. And it's going to be just as quick as yesterday. So, yesterday, we talked about all the stuff that could be damaging your teeth and could be ruining your teeth, such as anterior wear and losing your teeth. And then we discussed what else could be happening, and we talked about abfraction lesions. And today we're going to go through a little bit of more detail with regards to exactly what's going on. And it's not going to take very long because there's two different types of concepts here. There's something called compensatory eruption, which you see here on the screen, and there is the abfraction lesions, which I'm going to describe the physics of and why things are currently happening to you, because it happens to everybody that doesn't really pay attention to those things. So we talked about this. We talked about compensatory eruption, and today I'm going to explain to you why this is happening. So this is the ideal alignment, and this is literally how things should be. You know, things are straight in a row, and everything looks good. Everything looks good. Everything is balanced. Now, when things are not, when you don't have a proper opposing bite, when you have a space on the top, such as on this example here, when you have a space, I know this is extreme, but there are people that have, a lot of people have very deep bites, meaning that their teeth are not meeting properly in the front, and there isn't much protection. They're not also wearing a night guard, and et cetera, et cetera. And so what happens is that they start getting this kind of shifting. So the first step that happens is that the teeth start going upward. When they start going upward, then the gum and the bone starts to follow. And this is what basically the slide is saying. Now, as the teeth are shifting up, now obviously they're not shifting up in just, you know, a straight up and down motion and then creating this space, and then all of a sudden you get a collapse like this. No, it happens, you know, it happens over a long period of time, and it happens simultaneously all at the same time. But what happens is that you start getting something like this. You start getting a step, and here you start getting this kind of thing happening. If you look at this, at the picture on the right side, you'll see that the crowding is what is being described right here. So it starts off as everything being straight, and then you get the tipping. Once you get the tipping, then your teeth start looking like this. Okay, so you start getting that, you can see that compensatory eruption. You can see the gum line, how the gum line is way above where it should be. The teeth are not positioned properly, and now the teeth are being worn down and they're crowded. Okay, they're not straight. So how do you stop this dental cycle from getting worse? The first thing is you need to understand why your teeth are getting worse, and we discussed some of it today. And here's these are reasons as to why your teeth are not in their proper alignment and they're what we call unbalanced bite. Now, there's something called abfraction lesion, which we talked about these. We talked about them yesterday, and I showed you these pictures. And I just want to remind you of these things. And these things are called abfraction lesions, and they are a multifactorial type of process that happens because of improper bite, you know, improper balance of your teeth when you're biting. And you have, you know, you're probably not wearing a night guard, you're brushing too, you're brushing too hard, et cetera, et cetera. So how does this happen? Now, as you can see here, this is it's a good picture illustrating the forces that happens on the teeth. Now, as you can see here with the forces that happen, I'm going to read this out. And it says poorly aligned teeth can also create unnatural stress and pressure on teeth and jaws. Teeth that are subject to excessive pressure, i.e. teeth that are not balanced, are not, I'm going to show you an extreme example of what happens right afterwards. But teeth that are not balanced properly, they're not aligned, they're not straight, can develop chipping and notches at the gum line called abfractions. Premature wear can lead to poor root, not development, but poor root shape. So you can see here, you can see how, this is a, diagrammatical illustration of what happens at a microscopic level. You have the enamel rods and enamel rod fractures, and then you start getting these things. And this is not made up. I mean, I see this all the time. And, you start getting, these micro indentations, and then you start getting the surface wear and you get abfractions. And I want to remind you that it has a lot more to do than with just your toothbrush and your night guard and you not wearing your night guard. Because if that was just that case, then we'd have a lot less of these kind of problems happening. And I'm telling you that it happens Way too much. Way too much. I can't even tell you how much it happens, but it happens excessively. So this is what's happening here. Now, how bad can it get? This is how bad it can get. Okay, and this is not a joke. I mean, I have patients in this boat. Okay, they're literally in this boat. Their teeth are, they've experienced a lot of apraxian lesions, a lot of recessions, a lot of bone loss. And here you can see it. You can see them. This is not a made up picture. This is not AI generated. This is true. It happens. And so then the question becomes as to, okay, well, I mean, if things can get that bad, what can you do? What can you do to prevent it from happening? And I want to address something because, I've seen certain comments and I've heard certain things from people, and I really want to say something. I want to say that, look, this does look scary. Absolutely looks scary. Okay. And I mean, the whole point of education is to kind of wake the uneducated brain up so that certain things can be done so that that stuff doesn't happen. So yes, is it scary? Absolutely scary. Am I trying to scare you into doing something you shouldn't be doing? That doesn't make any sense. So whenever I hear, these, people are, or I'm scaring people into doing certain things, or, people are, getting these unrealistic things being projected to them, that's not unrealistic. I mean, I see it all the time and it's documented, it's scientifically valid. So I understand that this is a reaction of some people when they hear certain things and they don't want to believe it. And so they think that this is fear mongering, but it's not, because I showed you many types of examples and I showed you science and how science actually shows how this thing is happening. Whether or not you want to believe it is completely up to you. But, you can go around and ask many dentists, and unequivocally, you'll hear very similar things. So, getting back to the treatment is that if you are in a situation which isn't too bad, so it's not too late. Okay, so you're in this situation where you have some crowding, you have unbalanced bite, you have a little bit of compensatory eruption, then yes, it's very fixable with orthodontics. With Invisalign, it's very, very fixable. Now, if you're in a situation like this, you're beyond orthodontics at this point, okay? Especially with a situation like that, you're beyond orthodontics. So at this point, what you want to do is you want to consider doing something called complete oral rehab, okay? Where, it's a big treatment plan, to be honest with you. And yes, it does cost a lot of money, but it does involve a lot of work because your bite has to be balanced prosthetically. So it has to be balanced artificially so that, you can bite properly and also function and look good. And if you're in this situation where you have, some orthodontic problems, your teeth are misaligned and you need some prosthodontic work, your teeth are not looking good, you need an implant, you need crowns, whatever, then there's a combination of both orthodontics and prosthodontics, which is, Invisalign, for instance, or veneers, Invisalign with crowns, Invisalign with veneers and crowns, Invisalign with implants, so on and so forth. So a combination of those two. And these are some testimonials of patients who have been treated with Invisalign, and some have been treated with Invisalign and with a combination of prosthodontics and orthodontics. And these are some of the things that they've said. So my jaw doesn't hurt anymore. This is from Megan. I actually sleep a lot better. From Mehdi. I love how my sleep looks, how my smile looks now. By Michelle. Honestly, the best money spent for looking better and feeling great. I can't believe the before and after. It's incredible how much it changed, and so on and so forth. I mean, there's a ton of these testimonials, and that's it, folks. So fixing your bite today will prevent costly and timely oral health problems in the future. If you have any questions at all, feel free to message us, info@spinellightdentistry.ca, or you can call us at 519-474-0220. And as always, keep smiling and good night.